The word that I keep coming back to is uplifting. I have this conviction based on my lived experience that uplifting people or the planet doesn't have to be draining. It can actually feel uplifting to the person who's making that impact. Okay. Like we're jumping in here. It's on. So I actually don't know what to call these little follow-ups that we'll be doing pretty much on a bi-weekly basis. I was thinking, and this may be corny, people will have to tell us what they think. I was thinking like quick reflex, like, like a play on like reflexes, but not reflex. Anyway, so I was thinking quick reflex, but this will be a super short, kind of really casual, at least for the normally casual feedback, takeaways from whatever the conversation, and in this case, there was two conversations that we had about uplifters' journeys. So here we'll unpack some of the nuggets that we took away from the journeys. We will share and highlight some of the nuggets that the uplifters have given, and then we'll also kind of generally share about this kind of impact engagement framework that we'll continue to cover over future episodes. So should we just jump in here?
Yeah. I'll introduce myself first. I'm Tamerri Ater. I'm Director of Communications and Engagement at Uplifting Capital. And I'm here with the man of the hour, our CEO and founder, Toussaint Bailey.
And I guess I just jumped in and started talking. I am Toussaint Bailey. So we have my first episode, which it feels somewhat weird to talk about because I'm talking about stuff that is about me, but we'll talk about it. And then we also have the episode with my friend and just incredible mind and incredible change maker in the criminal justice space, Robert Rooks of Reform Alliance. And I don't know how many people looked up Reform Alliance following that conversation, but if you don't know about Reform Alliance, like go just go take a quick peek at their work, at what they're about, and look at who's on their board. They are a who's who of people who come from culture and business to really affect this problem of criminal justice, all starting from the lived experience of Meek Mill and how he was mistreated and really abused by the probation and parole system. So a shout out to Robert. Let's jump in. What did you? I would rather start talking about Robert. What was a main takeaway from Robert's conversation for you?
One of the main things that I took away was just the importance of feeling connected to an issue. I thought that was really profound when you asked them, like, what is something that someone can do to tackle this issue? And it's like, first you have to see yourself as a part of it. And I think a lot of people think about prison reform or criminal justice, and it's easy if you're not a criminal or you've never been arrested to feel like you're not a part of it. But I think, and we know this from the reform dinner that we had, that almost everyone in that room had a personal connection to justice. And so that was really profound to me. It was just like to see yourself, and also that it's a public safety issue, not only about criminals or prison reform. It's literally about making people safe.
Yeah, that's that. Yes, I was blown away when he said, like, because I always think of these, we talk about micro acts of courage. I always think of those as things like people do. I love that mindset as a micro act. He's like the first thing you can do is see this as a you problem. There's not a problem that exists in bricks and mortar that's off somewhere else in a remote area of the state. This is a you problem. So that was amazing. And yeah, I completely agree. One of the things that Robert has impressed upon me in my many conversations with him, and then also the team at Alliance for Safety and Justice, where I do a little bit of work with. So shout out to Jay Jordan, Lenore, all the incredible people doing work at Alliance for Safety and Justice. That this is a public safety issue, and one of the things that Alliance for Safety and Justice does is they really bring victim voices. So victims of crime and their voices in, and they really show that thin line between the people who are most victimized by crime and the people who are most criminalized by the justice system. And it's the same group of people who are suffering from these issues. And those communities are the same communities. And the ripple out from those communities affects all of us. So as I've gotten educated about criminal justice, I've learned that there is really no delineation between healthy criminal justice and public safety. And so I
Yeah.
love that Robert got that message out on the podcast.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah. I basically restated everything you just
No,
said.
no, no, that's good. I also think it ties into, what we talked about on your first episode about, or what you talked about, emotional impact alpha also. Just uplifting and then you feeling good about it, right? I mean,
Yep.
these issues are heavy issues. And I think, and we talk about, being 1% better or micro acts of courage, and just taking a little step can make you feel like it's not going to solve the problem overnight, but it's going to uplift you, right? You're going to have more emotional impact alpha. So I love that as well.
Oh, I'm glad you said that, because as casual as this conversation is, I actually have, as you know, I have a framework for thinking about how we can engage with impact and impact others in a way that uplifts us. And I think it does follow a formula. And I feel like I somewhat am leading in my questions in these interviews, in the one I did with Robert, myself, and then in the other interviews that we've done and that will be coming. But really, I think that formula, which I'll preview here, so you'll get to keep listening. I'm gonna give you all the keys right now, and so you could be completely done. But I would like you to keep listening. And so
Yeah.
for me, I just see this formula. I've like talking to as many people who have been not only uplifting others, but seem to be finding personal alignment from that. I just see this pattern repeat, and I'll go deeper on each of these in future episodes or in future reflections. But to me, there's these four ingredients really. I'm a big fan of frameworks. One is the hard stuff. So you'll hear me say over and over again, I don't believe in skipping over the hard stuff. I don't believe in skipping over the hard stuff. And that's literally the hardest stuff. So grief, like actually grieving the problem, the 5 stages of grief really ended at acceptance. And then one of my favorite authors, David Kessler, one of my favorite thought leaders and authors, David Kessler, wrote this 6th book about finding meaning. And a lot of the people that you see on these journeys are really in that 6th step of finding meaning. And really that's a means of healing from grief. And so that acknowledgement of grief and that awareness of grief and actually addressing it is a big piece. And tied in there is regret. Daniel Pink in his book Power of Regret talks about if you want to look at what someone's most fulfilled by, look at what they regret most. And these are kind of two like the light and dark side of the same emotion. And you can really get to what's most fulfilling if you kind of sit with and examine and take the time to reflect on what you regret most. And I think that works for us collectively too. Like what we collectively regret, we might collectively address and find the most fulfillment and kind of the most collective healing in. And so I think that's the first piece of it, like really sitting with and examining the hard stuff. When we try to skip over that, we really end up doing these kind of surface level, kind of posturing, box checking actions that make us feel good for a second, but we really don't get anywhere. So that, and then hope, like actionable, like learned optimism, deep hope, and big thinking on where these problems can go. So hard stuff, hope, and then there's this whole idea of stretching versus chasing, and this comes completely from not completely, but largely from an author, a business book that I read. Scott Sonnenschein wrote a book called Stretch, where he talks about these 2 different mentalities of successful problem solvers versus unsuccessful problem solvers. Stretching is folks who see themselves as having a constrained set of resources and needing to stretch those resources in order to address a problem. And then chasing is people who are constantly saying, like, if I just had this, I would solve the problem. If I just had that, I would solve the problem. And the former leads to all sorts of creativity and all sorts of ingenuity and empowerment. Like you just feel more empowered when you believe that you have the set of tools in front of you. So hard stuff, hope, stretching, and then the last one is we've said it on this podcast. I'll say it a million times. It's starting small. So it's micro acts of courage. I've called it 1% changes. James Clear in his book Atomic Habits talks about the compound aggregation of marginal gains. So you start small and you keep doing stuff, and there's this outsized result if you do these small actions repeatedly on a daily basis. And I think that works double for collective action, because you not only have your own aggregation of these actions, but across people, like the collective small actions also start to mean more. So this whole framework of hard stuff, hope, stretch, micro acts, is one that will be covered again and again and again in the conversation. But I thought I would share the keys that I think lead to kind of this mix of helping others, uplifting others, impacting others, and doing that in a way that leaves us fulfilled rather than depleted. So yeah, that
I
was
love
more than
that.
a casual conversation.
The visual that came to me when you were talking about, the aggregate collective was, we're little baby ants just trying to build
Yeah,
something strong, like, right?
totally.
Like,
And like just build, like carrying this like huge stuff
yeah,
together.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I
That's
love
what I was
that.
thinking of. Yep.
Yeah, we got to do some kind of graphic or something with some
Oh
little.
yes, I love that. Little baby ants.
All
Cool.
right. Yeah, no, I think this is good. This is fun. Let's
And we'll
do it
be
again in a
back.
couple of weeks. Any other thoughts? I don't want to cut you off.
No, those were my main thoughts. I'm excited to see the other interviews. We have some great ones coming down the pike, so we'll have lots of discussions to take away.
Yes, we do. I don't. Who are we gonna release next? Or maybe it's probably Sam.
Sam, I think, yeah,
Oh
Nick was working on that, so I think
yes,
Sam makes the most sense.
my guy Sam Ushio. Oh, can't wait
Yeah,
from Connect 3X. Okay, coming up. Look out.
look
Cool.
out.
All
All
right.
right,
Bye.
see you later.